turned out to be after the first operation. I had 2 operations. After the first one, it was determined to be like stage 3 rather than stage 1, and it had gotten into my lymph system, as we found out after operation number 2, when I had to have all the lymph nodes removed under my arm, and it's, I had recovery from that for about a month, and more scans, and lucky enough, the scans were clear. In other words, I have no other sign of melanoma in my body anywhere. But I did have to do radiation for a month and chemotherapy for a month, which took me all over to about February. Actually, Valentine's Day was my last infusion of chemo. So the reason we were a little bit vague and why my name wasn't on the list of visiting coaches was that, basically all of that, and follow-up if we would announce something like that, in December or January. The media follow-up to that probably would have been pretty strong, and I wasn't in any type of health to be able to handle a lot of calls from media around the country or do interviews, and you had to say no to people over and over and over and over. So it was, I don't know whether we said the right thing. David Buck and I kind of choreographed that vague description of why I wasn't able, why I had to stay close to home. So that's pretty much it. I feel fantastic right now. Actually, tomorrow morning I have another scan. I will be going through these scans, hopefully maybe for about 5 years. And as the scans hopefully stay clear, the rest of my body, I won't have any issues. They're 3 months apart now, and then they'll be 6 months apart, hopefully, and then a year apart, and then they'll turn me loose. I've done just about everything I can do to destroy any cancer cells that are in my body. Some of them are so microscopic you can't detect them. That's why you do the radiation and the chemo. But it was kind of a rough road for 2 or 3 months. And
scary?
I'm out of it now, and scary. Was it scary? If you sit and ponder the possibilities that come from something like this, yes, it could be. But I'm also the luckiest man alive that I happened to duck into my dermatologist one day. I was in Florida for one day to do a closing on a house, and I had a little thing on my hand. And I just went in there and said, "Can you look at this?" And he said, "Why don't I take a look at your whole body while you're here?" And obviously, the moral of the story is everybody get your skin checked at least once a month. Now that I know what I know, but I caught it early. Hadn't I gone in to see my dermatologist back in late August, I might still have it. It might even with a stage 3. So even though that was a tough couple of months, I'm a very lucky man.
How much does being in shape and keeping yourself fit help in terms of the recovery?
Well, the doctors say it does. The doctors, they tell you chemotherapy affects everybody differently. I think someone that is I'm not in great shape, but somebody's in pretty decent shape can handle it a lot better than somebody that isn't. I only had one episode with nausea and a couple episodes with chills. Most of my issues with the whole thing for a month was about 6 weeks, was mental. Dealing with it mentally. I couldn't concentrate on anything. I had no taste buds. I couldn't speak. My voice was really raspy, and there are a lot of side effects that I had. But one of them really wasn't that I was sick all the time, and vomiting and things that happens to some people.
Mike, when did that all? So when did you have the appointment for your hand? Was it like October?
Yeah, no. It was late the last week of August.
Okay, so back in the summer.
Did it? You've never been anything other than a high-profile, terrific athlete. So I'm wondering if you detect any difference in the way someone with your background might react to news like this compared to somebody who.
Well, there's no question. While you're playing, like these guys in here right now at their age, and then even after you retire, to the the age that I am now, I mean, the older you get, the more you realize that as you're getting old, you're thankful that you're getting old in a healthy manner, but you still carry some sort of sense of invincibility. You know, if you've been through athletically what I and these guys here have, you really do feel a bit invincible. You feel, it's the best word I can use. I don't anymore. I feel, I don't know whether normal's the right word, but I've been in chemo infusion centers, sitting in a chair with a needle in my hand with people that are dying all around me. And I hoped I would never see anything like that, but it became normal for me for over a month to go sit with these people that were further along with their cancers than I was. I was usually the most fortunate person in the room.
Do they think this is a byproduct of being a long-time Florida resident and got out in the sun, or something
for
different?
For me, it's first of all, anybody can get anybody can get melanoma. I mean, light skin, dark skin. I mean, I know people with olive skin that have had serious melanoma operations. But in my case, it ran in the family. My grandfather suffered from it. He didn't die from it, but he suffered from it. And he was, oh gosh, this is back 30, 40 years ago. I mean, he died in the late 70s, early 80s. But he had his ear taken off. He had melanoma, but he died from something else. But I always knew with my skin and my exposure to the sun through my entire life, a lot in the early years, in baseball years, we didn't use sunscreen. We played day games and spring training. We wanted to get tan, actually. So yeah, I'm sure it had something to do with that. I think it has something to do with other skin issues that I have. But the melanoma's on my back. It's a mole. So I can't say that sun related, although a doctor probably say it is. I don't like where I'm sitting right now, actually. Get scared of the sun, man. I'm telling you, it's an evil thing. We need it, but
how did from a timeline standpoint, you knew you were going to be? Did you find out before? You found out and then decided, okay, I'm going to be able to come back and broadcast some games.
Well, like I said, about 10 days following my Valentine's Day was my last one. I started to get my life back. I started to be energetic about talking to people, returning phone calls. And in fact, that was one of the things that really helped me heal. Was people came out of nowhere, out of just people I hadn't talked to in a long time. I had an hour and a half phone call with Ed Farmer. Remember Ed Farmer?
Oh, yeah.
I hadn't talked to him in 10 years, and I started really enjoying returning phone calls and people that had reached out to me when I just, declined to answer their call because I didn't have the energy or wherewithal to speak to them at that time. And I called them all back, and I got a lot of energy and a lot of healing from knowing how many people cared about me. I really did. Fantastic. That would have never happened. It's sort of a really nice byproduct of the problem that I've had. I rekindled about 10 friendships that had been really, really strong friendships when I played ball. And I'm back in the saddle with those guys now.
At what point did they approach you about broadcasting? At what point did you think
Sean,
you could
I'm going to
actually
thank
do it?
David, of course, and Sean. Sean and I just met for the first time today, but we talked on the phone a lot, and David called me. Dave, I don't remember when that was exactly what the...
It was right after we made the change with Wheels and Sarge. I want you to know, and then talked about it. It was right around January.
Then he called me, and he said that I was kind of on the long list of people they were interviewing for the color analyst job, and David asked me if I was interested in being interviewed for the full-time color analyst job, and the quick answer was no. My lifestyle won't let me get back on the airplanes and travel with the team again. So he and Sean sort of choreographed this Sundays with Schmidt concept, so I'm doing 13. I'm very excited about it. Doing 13 Sunday home games. Come in on Saturday afternoon and sit through the Saturday night broadcast and chat with the guys. Maybe do a little tease on Saturday night. Come back Sunday and do the broadcast on Sunday. I guess, Sean, I'll be with both of the guys that.
Whichever guy's there, that's Jamie or Matt.
Okay, so we'll both do 9 innings on.
Yep.
Okay. On Sunday, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
What was your experience, looking back in your experience, doing it before?
Broadcasting?
Yeah.
A typical retiree that felt the next step in life is broadcasting. I mean, you see it all the time. Prism was the opportunity back in the day. Jim Barniak was the play-by-play guy. Gary Maddox and I shared the booth with Jim Barniak. Maybe 2 games a week, 3 games a week, something like that. I can't remember exactly how many. I got to be honest with you. I think my content was good, but I don't think back then. I don't think my sense of emotion, my upbeat lack of emotion, lack of an upbeat sort of tempo with my voice. And I just couldn't get excited over a single ground ball single up the middle. I mean, I could say that, that was good hitting. 2 strikes, you made contact, you hit a ground ball up the middle. But I mean, guys, they wanted me to be more excited about little things. They wanted me to do more. I spoke to so-and-so before the game. I was in the clubhouse. I was hanging around the batting cage, and we had a nice chat with the manager. And I was uncomfortable doing that. I had just retired, and I didn't want to now start coming in my coat and my tie that I was going to wear that night in the broadcast and stand around and wait for somebody to talk to me, or go up to the guys that I just played with and say, hey, you got to give me something for the broadcast tonight. And what was comfortable for me was just coming to the game, watching the game, telling some stories, reacting to what I saw on the field. And I didn't do a lot of research. I didn't have batting, you know what I mean? I watched the game, and then people saw it through my eyes. But that wasn't necessarily what the job description was. That's the best way I can put it. They wanted the guy that's going to dive in there and do the research, and go talk to the players, and come with a lot of ammunition when they watch the game. And I always believed that, hey, I'll be entertaining enough. Just let me watch the game and talk into the microphone. And it got a little uncomfortable, and they wanted me to take some lessons. Remember Andrea Kirby? She used to coach a lot of the young guys that want to be broadcasters, and so they made me spend time with her and watch tapes of my games, and it is a little bit uncomfortable. That won't happen this year. That won't happen.
Well, what's going to be your style?
What's
going to be your style now?
My style?
Yeah, you said you lacked emotion before.
Remember,
what are you going to bring?
This is I'm not a full-time guy, and I'm only doing 13 Sunday home games, and it's going to be much like it has always been when they ask me to visit the booth, when they ask me to come in and do an inning or talk about something or promote something. I used to have a blast with Wheels and Maddox or Matthews when I dropped in for a couple innings. And, Gary and I, Sarge and I would play off of each other, and we'd have some laughs. We'd talk about back when and tell some stories. And it was very, very lighthearted, not as informative. I think Sean would agree with this. The Sunday broadcasts are now going to be filled with information and stats, and it's going to be more of an entertainment day. It's going to be more of who knows what's going to come up, but it's going to be a lot lighter.
Are you how many innings are you doing? All 9 innings each Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your impressions of this team? And from the outside, everybody says an old team, too old to compete. You obviously played on an old team in 1983.
Well, let me first say that this is my first day here, and I haven't even talked to any of the players.
Right.
I think I've watched maybe 4 or 5 innings of one game, and it was way back. I think it was the first game against the Yankees here. Getting all my information on Phillies.com. I'm reading all your articles and watching the videos and the highlights, and trying to stay abreast of what's going on.
Inquirer.com is really good too.
I'm a little bit aware of a couple of the, what do you call them disciplinary issues that have happened to this point, for lack of a better word. I don't know if that's the truth or not, but I mean, I don't know anything in detail on that. I just know Ryan hit 6th or 5th one day, and Jimmy didn't play for a few days, and I don't know the reasons why, but I'm going to chat with Ryan Sandberg here later this morning, and we'll probably get into a little of that, fill me in. I think Ryan, from my perspective, is off to a great start as manager. I hear nothing but good things about Ryan Sandberg and how he's run the camp, and he certainly has the experience in the minor leagues of working with, professional baseball players. He commands a lot of respect as a Hall of Famer, and because he put time in at the lower level, successful time. He's always been a winning manager. The team, I really say that if the team can stay healthy the entire year, people like Cliff Lee and Hamels and Kendrick and your starting staff can stay healthy, and Papelbon can stay healthy, and you get back to MVP caliber years from Utley and Rollins and Howard. And, Dominic Brown continues to develop. Marlon Byrd looks like a fantastic addition, and hitting 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and it's a protection for Ryan. I think health is a key issue, and I know you guys have heard this before. I think Howard needs 500-600 at bats. Utley needs 500-600 at bats. These guys can't go on the DL for a month and a half, and I think everybody's a very important call. Everybody. You can argue about who is the most important, but the team needs to be healthy. All due respect to our bench, I don't think we have the strongest bench, even with Brady now in the league. I would think that maybe Atlanta or Washington is a little bit stronger depth-wise, but I still think we have a team that is to be reckoned with.
When you were playing, did you notice or think about guys you played with or played against who might make good managers someday? And did you think Ryan was one of those guys?
Not necessarily. Obviously, the career he had, becoming a Hall of Famer, the money he made as a player. I don't think that would add up to being, there's a guy that's going to be a great manager someday. The great manager prospects that we saw were more guys that sat on the bench, John Vukovic kind of guys, that sat and watched the game more and weren't as involved in the game, but they took it all in and they went about their work every day, and they had a love for baseball. They did not make what I would call big money, so they need to continue to work in the game. They guys that develop a lot of friendships in the game that they can lean on when they retire, when they get out of the game.
Why is that? I mean, really, in the last 25 years, the only Hall of Famer I can think of that had a managing career and is successful was probably Frank Robinson.
It's true.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's all the reasons I just mentioned.
Okay,
in a lot of cases, they don't need the work. They don't need the money. They've given everything they have to the game over probably almost, in most cases, an 18 to 23-year career, something like that. They're tired of traveling. They're tired of room service. They're tired of the lifestyle that you guys have with the late nights, and sleeping
and the
in,
demands, right?
The hotels, and in today's world, there's a tremendous amount of screaming and sign this and sign that, and the hotels are hard to get in and out of, and there's a lot of hassle, travel, and the lifestyle. So I think that somebody that has made enough money and wants to get back and see their family, be with their family, travel, that's almost me. I'm almost describing myself. And Roy Halladay is probably going to fall into that role. I mean, I know
that was your experience, wasn't it? You were down here for one summer and you'd had enough.
Well, as that worked out, yeah, that could have worked out a lot different. differently. You know, Charlie was hired, that was a window for me to become a manager. Whether it be of this team or another team, I was of the mindset that I was going to go back into baseball and wanted to manage. I wanted to manage in the big leagues, but it did not work out. And you know, everything's for the best. At least I think it is. That the plan for my life was not to become a manager, and I'm so happy that it wasn't. You know, that it worked out the way it did. But you know, it could have happened back then.
Looking way down the road, if you continue to feel good, do you want to get back into the construction like the previous spring?
Oh, well, yeah. God willing, God willing, I will be in uniform next year. I'm looking forward to that, especially with a lot of the guys that are now back. I mean, I'd love to get to know Roy Halladay. That's why I got a little stubble on my face. I'm trying to look like Roy Halladay. It just isn't working. But I'd love to get to know him and Brad Lidge and some of the guys, the younger guys that are now guest instructing. Yeah, I mean, I got it on my calendar.
Is the broadcasting thing just this 1 year, or is it just kind of your
I think we negotiated a 1-year contract, did we not?
It's tough to nail down, Mike. You're certainly open to it's been great.
So that's my story.
Cool.
Sticking to it.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, man.